got here. There we go. Oh no, I forgot to do my thing. 1 second, everybody. I know you can't see me. There we go. Okay. And here we are. There we go. Okay, let's see. We got everybody here. We should be good to go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, now we're ready. Oops, let me get a little bit better there. Okay, let's let you guys take a look what we got here. Hey, y'all. Sorry for the late start here. We're starting 10 minutes later than I like to. Hey, Jennifer. Welcome everybody, and again, apologize for the late start. It had more to do with me than Ann being stuck in traffic. But as you guys have figured out, this is my little hobby obsession, is teaching class to you guys, and so I try to get all the cameras right and do all of that, and when we add a third person, which I like doing is my preference, just means moving some cameras around, and it took a little bit longer than I thought it would. So, anyway, yeah, we'll fix some things maybe during this sway. So, Ann and Tara are here. I don't know if this mic will work. You guys can try it. Say something, see if the mic works.
Hey, hi.
No, it does not work. Okay. Okay, anyway, I want to go ahead and get started with the class. Let's see. Actually, I'll be able to find this. Nope. There we go. Okay, now I think you guys are live. Yep, there's probably an echo with that on. All right, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so anyway, all right, we're good to go. Thanks, Carl. I appreciate that. I'm banking on your adoration for tonight's late start right here. So anyway, I'm super honored to have Tara, my partner in life right now, and my partner in life, and then Ann Humphrey's with me, and they're just taking the class. But I do have a mic set up for them, so I am hoping that if they want to chime in and say something, that they will feel comfortable to do that. Let me know if you hear an echo. That means I left the mic on, most likely. So anyway, I want to talk, tonight's a class that would be very much like a local flavor type class, and so I was really stoked when I kind of picked this theme based on Ann being here. So I'm honestly not exactly sure what techniques and things we'll get into, and lose no faith in that. For most of my hoop teaching, after the first 5 years of my hoop teaching, I showed up with no plan except songs that I liked. Okay, good. I showed up with no plan really except songs that I liked for class, and we would just kind of go and flow as an organism together. At least that's usually what happened. And so with Ann coming in here, I thought that we would bring that flavor back. But there is going to be some structure to the class. I just don't know exactly which exercises we'll do. But the structure of the class is going to be on something that, it was one of the first classes that I taught. And if you like this concept of belief, strength, grace, my first podcast that I ever did was one of my better ones probably, but I talked about belief, strength, grace. So if you know my SoundCloud, if you like this concept of belief, strength, grace, you can check out my podcast. It's kind of like a long sway. I talk over music to it. It's not exactly like sway, but you'll get the point. But here's what belief, strength, grace is. Within the My Dan stories, they didn't call it a My Dan progression, but that's what I called it. Because if we were to imagine that, the My Dan were something that we could study, a philosopher or a historian or someone like that might say that this is what they would call the My Dan progression. I don't know if they would have had a name for it. But the idea is there's 3 phases of a progression. There is the belief phase, the strength phase, and then the grace phase. Okay? And these are subsequent layers. And you accumulate belief to a point that you get to strength, and then you accumulate strength until you get to grace. And then grace is the application of both strength and belief. So in this model, belief is an idea that you put energy into. Strength is once you have started that thing you believe, like once you have made it real, then the strength is the building of strength, and that's sort of in air quotes, that's like of life force for that thing so that you can become good enough with it that you can control it, right? Or guide it, let's put it that way, that you guide it. So let's say that you believe that there is such a thing as second current shoulders. You believe that you can do second current shoulders someday, and then you start trying your second current shoulders. The moment that you get a couple of revolutions where you feel beyond just like you're just whirling it, but where you have a couple of revolutions, you move into the strength phase. And the strength phase sometimes can be years long, but this is where you develop all the things that a hooper needs to be able, or that you as a hooper need to be able to shoulder hoop. Then when you get to a point in your practice, and it can happen soon or it can happen late, whatever, where you really feel like you can think about things other than keeping the hoop up, you can think about things other than how you're positioning your body, you can think about dance, you can think about forgiving your mom, you can think about, forgiving your life partner or whatever it is. When you get to that place where you're not so conscientiously focused on what you're doing at the time, you're moving into grace. And so grace is the application of that strength. So in the My Dan thinking, grace is not weakness at all. In fact, it'd probably be more similar to like sort of the biblical ideas of grace, like of forgiveness, like strong strength, like forgiving people, letting go of grudges, those type of things. So grace is like, this progression is above the strength category, although it's built on the strength category. I hope all that makes sense. Basically, it'd be hard to be, in My Danism, it'd be hard to be weakly graceful. Okay? Almost impossible. All right. So how'd I do on that talk? Okay, that was pretty short. So we're going to move into a sway. I'm going to be playing songs mostly from my iTunes tonight, so that I can pick the songs out. I have had hardly no viewers on Facebook the last month. So if you are watching on Facebook, the best place to watch is on YouTube or Twitch. It doesn't look like we have anybody on Twitch tonight. Sometimes we do, but YouTube and Twitch, and preferably YouTube if it's totally a choice up, Okay, I like this one. All right. Oh, no. I don't have a place to put. Okay. We'll get going. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. Belief, strength, and grace. Audible breath in. Belief, strength, grace. The Maidan were very concerned about running out of belief. And they believed that belief was so important that one should take time for themselves to let belief reign. And what they meant by that is that if you feel optimistic when you listen to music and dance, if you feel optimistic or hopeful for the world when you hang out with your children or grandchildren, or when you take long walks, the Maidan believed that those moments were especially important because it was in hopeful places that realities sprung from. Essentially, they believed that if you thought it were possible, you could try. Audible breath in. Audible breath in. Y'all ready to hoop? Oh yeah? Do you want to keep going?
That was really fun.
Okay, Tara, anything to say before we move into class? Okay. All right. Here we go. And where is my hoop? Oh no. This hasn't happened in a while. There it is. Okay. So when I mentioned if you wanted to try some slow point with us, you can, or we're going to try some point technique. And I'm going to do something that will be kind of like a sway. I'm going to keep talking to you a little bit in story talk. But whether it's point technique or samurai or a combination of two, we're going to start with some slow flow tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring the music up. Let me know if the sound is okay, if I'm too loud or if I'm too quiet. And then when I mentioned if you had a blindfold that you might want to grab it, I recommend that you use it now. Or if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. In the Maidan way of thinking, or at least in Pasha's way of thinking, there were essentially three categories. There was belief, there was non-belief, and there was disbelief. And belief and disbelief required energy. And non-belief was the space between caring and not caring. If you don't know of something, you may have a non-belief. Or if something doesn't affect you or doesn't enter into your universe, you may have a non-belief. Not always, but sometimes your belief has a counter. If you believe in gender equality, if you believe in racial equality, then you would probably have a disbelief in sexism or in racism. By disbelief, you would put energy into not being that thing. And by belief, you would put energy into being that thing. Audible breath in. I invite you, as we move slowly, to take an account of what you believe. What things do you believe in that you put action into? Do you believe that you can be healthy? Do you believe that you can be happy? Believe that you deserve to be happy? Because if you believe those things, you put energy into those things. If I don't believe the world can heal, then I'm putting energy into its unhealing. Audible breath in. What are your beliefs? Sometimes it can feel good to say your beliefs out loud, or at least out loud in your mind. To movement, we can say very simple things like, I believe I can balance. I believe I can be strong. I believe I suck at this right now, but I totally believe I won't. I believe in me. I believe in the growth process. Audible breath in. What are your beliefs? What vision do you have that you want to bring into existence, or sustain, or develop, or grow? Audible breath in. For me personally, I believe breathing in feels really good right now. How are you guys? You feel good?
Really good.
Okay. All right. I have actually used some parts of this playlist before, but I just really dig it. Let me make sure I'm not online here. Yeah. Okay. Oop. Okay. So we're going to jump on the waist now in our hoops. There she is. Okay. Tonight we're going to move into some core hooping, and we're going to start with just your first current. I'm going to bring some music up. Sweet. Okay, good. Thank you, Jackie. Jackie, you are like psychically connected to me sometimes. I don't know if you know how appropriate your comments are to me sometimes. Let's see. I want to fix something really quick here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to work on, I want you to feel first what I was talking about with belief strength race, okay? Now, right now, you may have so a lot of times when people get into hooping, they actually actually haven't gotten into, like they didn't believe they could hoop and then they got it. And so sometimes hooping is an example, like you picked the hoop up, you didn't think you'd get it and you got it, right? Now, that's an example sometimes where life just blesses you with a good feeling, right? But a lot of times, and so what happens with hooping at first is you pick it up on your waist, especially if you've never seen it before, and you just enjoy it because that's all you know, right? And so it doesn't really require very much belief. But then if you really start to fall in love with it, and you really start to get, addicted to it, right? Then you might start to believe, like I did. One of my early beliefs was that I wanted to make it look like I was just dancing when I had the hoop on my waist, right? I wanted to sort of perfect this kind of sort of subtle sway-like motion. And so that became a belief, and then every time that I started to work on it, like I've started to move my hands, like not be a dork, not feel like awkward, then I was putting energy into this belief that I could be a smooth dancer with this stuff, right? It says sway, we're in the class, I'm just keeping it there so you can see the girls tonight. The guests, the persons, the people, the women. Now, eventually, if I want to take the hoop up to the shoulders, come up. Hey, Juniper, you're here. Sweet. Juniper, I don't know when you were here last, but we have fixed the high definition problem, or the HD problem. And there are HD recordings made available the next day. If you ever miss a class and you want to see it better than it went live. So I'm believing right now that I can shoulder hoop. Now I want you to try something. I want you to believe that you can speed up your shoulder hooping. I want you to believe that you can speed it up, and I want you to speed it up. You believe that it's possible, and I want you to speed it up. And then in your rhythm, not in my rhythm, I want you to slow it down, believing that you can slow the rhythm down. And then I want you to believe that you can speed it up. But I'm not going to tell you when to speed it up and slow it down for this whole song. I just want you to believe that you can speed it up and that you can get it lightning fast if you want to. Right, nice, and super fast. Or that you could get it super slow if you wanted to. Down to my waist, right? And if you prefer to do, oops, it's weird. Huh. Okay, if you prefer to do this on the shoulders, you can, but I want to use this belief, strength, grace thing to do angles just for a second here. I want to believe that I can create earth angle, right? And by believing it, I'm putting energy into it. Now, once I get the hoop on any kind of an angle, however slight that angle is, right? However slight the angle is, I've achieved it. And now I'm in strength, okay? And so if you're a new hooper, none of you guys are, but if you were a new hooper, once you have minimal success, you're into strength, and you should feel good. You should buy yourself a kombucha or a beer or a glass of wine or whatever, reward, or eat chocolate, whatever the reward is, because you've achieved it, right? But now comes the fun part, because once you have a little bit of strength, you get strength, right? Like, it takes strength to get strength, right? So once you have any kind of success, I can play with that success. Let's say that angles aren't not your thing, right? You could be staying with us in class right now just by believing. You could try second current, right? And we're going to stay, the three of us are going to try to stay on angles, not that this matters too much. And then remember, if I turn with the current, we're going to do it. Bonnie requested a class on stalls, or at least to cover stalls at some point. We'll talk about that. If I turn with the hoop in an angle, I can send it up into sky, right? Now, what's more important right now is your heart rate coming up. So you could waist hoop, you could shoulder hoop. In my classes, if you were in them live, you don't have to be doing what I'm saying. So sometimes, Tara and Ann might be doing something totally different than me, and that's totally allowed, right? Nice, T. Nice. Right? It's a little hot. And then one thing that I cannot stress to you enough. I still love this part. Right? One thing I can't stress enough is that every time you go through from belief to strength, every time your body moves through that belief to strength, you gain confidence, right? You get confident. You do it one time. And you get confident in being able to develop a belief into a practice that can accumulate strength, okay? So it's a really cool thing, right? So it's like the more things you try, the better you get at realizing beliefs, and the more powerful you think your energy is when you have it, because you start to see results about what your intention does, right? The momentum that your intention creates. Amy, welcome. Amy, I like your suggestion for second current. We will totally be doing that. Okay. Should we slow it up, or do you guys think, are we good to keep going? Can we do one more upbeat one?
I'm enjoying being on the tour.
Yeah, let's do one more upbeat one here, and I think what we're gonna do, Amy, this isn't the second current class, but let's do some second current, because I think, Amy, I hope I'm not misquoting you. I think you were the one on Facebook that posted that, like, sometimes it helps to, instead of switching back and forth between the currents, to just do a whole song in second current. And I totally agree with you, Amy. In fact, that's how I used to teach second current, was that we would do whole second current classes. So we would just take away the whole incentive. This is an old school HoopPath fave. So we'll do one more core exercise, and we're going to do it in second current. Now, for some of you, this might be the easiest exercise we do all night, because your second current, because you've put the belief and strength into it, is at the grace stage, right? I feel pretty graceful in my second current. Of course, there's probably, there's levels to grace as well, right? Like in my worldview, a 20-year-old can be incredibly graceful, but not as graceful as a 70-year-old. Just because there's this accumulation of experience, right? There's wisdom, that comes with grace. I'm in second current only. I've been in second current for a while, like in my life and right now even. So I'm ready to play with second current and see what she looks like tonight, right? So I'm going to bring second current up to my shoulders and we'll see what that looks like, what that feels like. I believe my left arm can move just as well as my right. I believe that it can. I don't have any evidence for that, but I believe it can, so I'm going to try and move it like it could. My second current maybe up into an angle. I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm going to move it up into an angle and we'll see what's happening. Now, this will be an example of non-belief, and I hope I'm not working this point too much. Non-belief is like when you never thought about what your left arm is doing or your right arm, and then you finally go, oh, wait a minute, I have a left arm. And then you go, I believe my left arm could move, right? And you move from non-belief, you didn't even know your left arm existed, right? To believe. And sometimes you'll realize that what was missing was an area of non-belief. Not disbelief, but non-belief, where they just, you didn't know you were supposed to believe that you should move your left arm. Now, I really believe in my second current right now. I'm feeling pretty good in it. So I believe that, like, maybe I should try to do things I haven't done before, or things I haven't done in a while. So I might try to move my hands around. Oh wait, I'm in second current. Heart rate's up. I could have belief that I'm getting tired, but I could have disbelief that that's a bad thing. I don't want to have belief, or I want to have disbelief that I'm a slow learner, but belief that I'm a patient learner. Audible breath in. Hey Bonnie, so we are on Facebook, okay. Bonnie, if it looks really weird on Facebook, it's because I stream at a very weird format that Facebook doesn't recognize. Okay, all right. Okay, how are y'all feeling? Do you have any requests for anything?
Well, I guess I was really enjoying doing. Oh, I knew exactly what it was. I was thinking maybe, I think it would be a great idea
Well, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about sky angle. I want to teach for just a second. I'll give you some belief. That's what teaching is belief, right? That's what teaching is. I'll give you some belief on this. But we just did an angles class. If those are watching live or on replay, we just did an angles class. It's where I said Baxter breaks down the moves in the house video that I did. And that has, it wasn't the best quality class, but it was, I don't know. It was, on my end of things, it was hard. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about angles in sky specifically. I'm going to bring a song on. For those of you that are tired, this is Anne's fault that we're doing something strenuous here. Now, do you want to do sky on the shoulders, or do you want to talk about sky on the shoulders or sky on the waist? Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about it. Well, let's talk a little bit about it on the stomach at first. I'm going to stand to the side so you guys can kind of see me. The most important thing to do is to your belief in this becomes your visualization, right? Which is kind of happens in life as well. So you have to visualize the plane that you want to create, right? So the plane that I want to create is the hoop going from lake to sky, right? Lake, water to sky angle, right? So I want to believe that first, right? And a lot of times for a lot of hoopers, that's enough. And then what'll happen is I'm gonna lean back, and then I've got to change my orientation. And in the story of Anea, she laughs and she splashes water up, right? She's a big, big, big woman. And when she laughs, she's so mighty that she splashes water. So the current is splashing up from her big belly laugh, right? Now, this is going to show up in shoulders, and it'll show up at this part as well. Where you really start to get in control of sky will want to walk on you. The sky angle will walk on you. And so what happens is you imagine, like, if I'm Anea, I'm big Anea, and I'm laughing and splashing. What if I was doing it like this, right? So that there is a push going towards one corner of your ceiling, where your ceiling and wall meet, and there was another push going to the other ceiling and wall joint there, right? No, that doesn't always work, but for some people, that will help balance you out, right? No, there is one more thing. Tara wants to know if there's one more thing. Okay. Okay, so this is my secret piece of advice that we're going to make super quick here. All right, so let's see if I can do this with the cameras I got working here. Let's say that this is my angle, right? Yeah, let's see. I think I was able to figure this out one time, but how the best way to do this is. But essentially, it's like there is a pivot to you in your hoop, right? And so, like, when I lean back, you can imagine I want to drop both shoulders put them at the same height. Now, what happens is when you go into sky angle, waist, shoulders, you might not realize it, but a lot of times you might be angled. Instead, you feel like you're flat, but usually your AM shoulder, your first tree shoulder, the shoulder the hoop is hitting first, is slightly out in front. So to make up for this, in the beginning, when you're learning something, you always overcompensate, right? Strength is about overcompensating. Grace is about not needing to, right? So I'm here, and if my right shoulder is pushed out in front, I intentionally bring it back down, right? So I'm rolling back down. Now that's going to feel awkward to you, but this is where the strength phase comes in, because all of a sudden, Tara knows this from gyrotonic, that once you introduce the new movement to the body and you apply repetition to it, it becomes natural, right? And so then, like, your overcompensation will just disappear into grace. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. The easiest way for me to show you is on the shoulders, okay? So I'm gonna pop into my angle. No, I'll show you. I'm gonna dip. No, it's gonna be a little confusing for you guys. I'm gonna dip my right shoulder back. Do you see that? Right? Now that's my first tree shoulder. I'm dipping it back. And some of you might need to do that to flatten the hoop out. Or I can push it way forward, pulling the other one back. I don't know if you guys can see. If I get way back, sometimes it... Oh, you can? Okay. See this? Or this? I know you can. I'm just showing off at this point. Now I'm here. And so sometimes, for some of you, bringing a shoulder back, tipping it towards the current, right? You're turning against the current, can help keep the hoop in front of you. Let's bring some music on, and then we'll get out of this hell that Ann has brought us on us. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I want your, sorry. So I'm going to move on to my waist right now, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm throwing my right side forward, my left side forward. And then this is me trying to balance it out. And so, just to put these two pieces together for you, not to overwhelm you. Nice, Ann. My pitch in the hoop, my angle, how I'm hitting the hoop, and then my push to the corners. Okay, the push to the corners is really important. Let's show you on the angles what this is about. On the shoulders. If I come way up here, right? Now I'm gonna bring my arms and shoulders up into the hoop. But I need to think that my left arm needs to push to the left top corner. My right arm needs to push to the right top corner of my room, right? So that's how I avoid the walk, because I have a push coming here and then a push coming here. The walk happens because there's a counter push that's not there. The counter push isn't showing up. That's why it walks. So you have to find that counter point, right? So Tara's using a lot of her right arm. We'll push it forward then. Like bring it higher. Oh, that's another point. That's actually nice, T. There she goes. Now, I want to point out something that Tara's doing right now that's not wrong. Tara can hold her arms straight without walking up, okay? She can do that, right? So make sure that you can, because the other way that I recommend is to bend your arms. So I'm here, and so now she's got a little bit of a bend on it. No, this isn't for everybody. Nobody needs the same advice. She was rocking it because she wasn't staying locked. Her arms are down here. But if you notice that your arms tend to lock up because you're focusing, you can break the elbows a little bit so that they can't lock. And then you can go hit your corners. Nice, T. Okay, nice. That's a good angle. See, the Ann's got some flexibility in the back there. She's leaning way back, and we can bring that back a little bit, but she's leaning way back, and that's really helping her. All right, let's see something here. All right, I remember the song. Okay, let's see if this works. There we go. Okay, all right. Okay.
Can I have a salt?
Yeah, of course. Okay, I hope everything has been okay with the sound and all of that. Please let me know if it hasn't been. I think I've left their mics on a couple of times, so if it seemed echoey, I apologize for that. Anyway, okay, so I didn't realize we're already at 8 o'clock. The class really flew by for me.
Me too.
We started 15 minutes late, but okay. So maybe should we keep going a little bit then?
Yes.
Okay. So
10 more minutes, 12 more minutes.
So there's a different type of belief that also leads to strength and leads to grace, and we're going to do some more a more graceful exercise. Sweet. Okay, Jackie voted to keep going. I mean, it's a live stream. You can just turn it off if you don't you don't hang out. But so sometimes belief that can be nurturing can be creative belief, and it could be like an idea. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to work with bird imagery, right, to create sort of open a belief in us. And so what the belief is going to be, hey, I don't want to hit you. Can you just scoot over? So, sorry, y'all, I don't want to hit Rex and Ann. But my belief is going to be like more of a, well, I'll start with bird imagery, that my hands, or that, actually, the imagery that I'm going to sort of, sweet. Yeah. Oh, sweet, Aaron, sweet. I'm glad you guys are here on Facebook. I thought Facebook had died as a platform for me. YouTube sounds and looks better, just to be clear. Okay, so actually, instead of birds, I think what we'll talk about is flight. Flight. So if I'm in flight, I am feeling wind, okay? And so my belief system is that I'm going to move in a way that helps me feel that wind, right? Or I can stick with my original idea and say, well, okay, I'm not just in flight, but my hands are in flight. Or like I could pick a different image of belief. I could say like, okay, I am the majestic red mountain, right? And my hand is the bird flying around that mountain, right? Or that my hoop is the sun, behind or in front of graceful beliefs. That was a good one, Kelly. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm making a belief right now in flight. And so I want to feel wind. I want to create wind. And I want to feel, you can hear it in my mic, I want to feel like I'm moving with wind. If I'm pretty tired, or if I'm feeling like a super slow flow, I could just keep my hoop still and move my hands. All right? So let's see if we can move into some grace here. And then I would really suggest to you guys that you use techniques that you're already in strength with right now. Just try it. Let's just feel a technique that you're already in strength with. And so you can feel like grace feels so good, right? So many revelations. It's hard to always trust your thoughts in the strength process, but in your grace process, that's coming from a strength place. Once you're in grace, you're coming from a strength place. And listening to your thoughts in grace open. Okay. Huh. Okay. We are kind of running late now.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Do you have any? Y'all have any thoughts, comments, or questions? T, Ann, anybody?
Well, are we going to do a cool down song? Or let's
Yeah, we'll do. Okay. Let's do 2 cool down songs. For you guys, wave Ann, wave up high. Here you are. And there you are there. I don't think I've been showing you enough tonight. My bad. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's cool this one down. I love Shlomo. If you guys don't know Shlomo. So there won't be any instruction for this. This will just be a free hoop. Thank you guys for joining us.
I love the last track.
Okay, so Ann wants to do one more slow one, so we're going to do one more slow one. And I mean, I want to do one more slow one too. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back Thursday. I think on Thursday's class, we're going to talk about working with currents. I'll come up with a jazzy title on it. Let me know if these themes are totally irrelevant and you don't give a shit, then might just stop coming up with them all the time. But they seem to help people know whether they want to watch or not. So we'll be talking a little bit about, since it's our foundations class, we'll be talking about currents, which will include stalls, turning against the current, with the current, on and off body. Okay.
Sucks you in and pulls you under. Tight.
Thank you, Movement Healing Arts. I think you're Anastasia, but thank you. Or not but thank you, but and thank you.
So long as guilt.
Hey Caroline, it's good to hear from you. I miss you. Hope you guys are doing well. If you ever want to see a high definition replay, it's on YouTube.
With a broken hearts imprinted beside it.
Okay guys, we're gonna head out of here. There's Ann waving goodbye. There's Tara waving goodbye. And there's me waving goodbye. Thank you guys. Have a great night.